I remember back last year, we was having to move units out of each other's way to get our units out, and that'd be a nice problem to be having right about now. But I almost passed the yard because I've never seen it this empty before. Got her all hooked up and walking around one more time. Everything in there seems to be pretty good. I'm gonna turn my fuel on. I'm gonna put that cap right there on. Torque my lug nuts. Everything seems good. Yep, all the lights blinking. Guess we'll get on down the road. So it is a new day. That yard looked kind of spooky over there yesterday. That's the least amount of campers I've ever seen in the Middlebury yard. And I'm absolutely amazed that I got this load. I honestly had already started making plans to camp out in Elkhart for the weekend. But I was riding along, I stopped at the rest area and had the app up and hit the refresh button. I sat for a day and a half just hitting the refresh button on the low board, trying to decide if I was going on up or going home or what I was going to do. And I finally decided to heck with it. I was going to just go ahead and head on up, camp out for the weekend, try to get something on Monday. And this load popped up going to Arroyo Grande, California. And I was in shock for about 3 minutes after I got it, because there'd been nothing on the board. It's been pretty pitiful. But anyway, we got it hooked and made it to Effingham last night. And I was gonna say I did my service and all yesterday. I did my service on the truck and rotated my tires and all that. When I had these tires put on not long ago, if y'all saw that video of the BF Goodrich's, I took a load down to Florida and I was going to make a video on it, but I got really frustrated with some other stuff, and I get down and I'm on my way back and I started getting a vibration in the truck, and I'm like, what in the world? And then I was empty and I was on my way home, and I slowed way down. I just knew something wasn't right. Got out, looked it over, couldn't figure out anything that could be wrong, and the lug nuts on the back tire on the left hand side had got loose, and I eased it down the road a little bit further. I was going to try to get off into a parking lot where I could look at it a little bit better, and by the time I got there, it had broken off 3 studs. So all the time I've had this truck and other vehicles, I know you're supposed to retorque your lug nuts after you take the tires off, put them back on. You're supposed to retorque them about every 150 miles, or the first 150 miles. And I didn't do that. When I've been torquing them at home, all the times I've rotated tires at home, I've done it and come back and retorqued them. They were always fine. So, but don't break the habit. Get in the habit of retorquing your lug nuts, whether you do the rotation or someone else does. And I'm not saying that they did something wrong up there where I got the tires put on. I am saying I will not be back. That was my last time going to that place. So it's a big arch in St. Louis here. But anyhow, so today it's looking like I'm gonna have to deal with some wind across 44 when I get on. The wind's down closer to Oklahoma City right now, and by the time I get to Joplin, the wind looked like it would have moved on up to Joplin. So I'm hoping that it doesn't, but if it does, I'll just stop in Joplin for the night and get laundry done and do some editing and all that stuff, and then we'll get a fresh start at it tomorrow. It looks, as of right now, like the wind will blow out tonight and it will be good riding tomorrow, but we'll see. If you guys are in Joplin and you know the area, and you know they do have truck parking at the Walmart right behind it, or if you're empty, look up Jimmy's Egg. restaurant. I was really impressed. They had some really good food. Went in there last week and it was pretty awesome. I'll definitely be going back. Made it here to Sayre, Oklahoma. Got out and stretched my legs for a little bit. Went around and torqued my lug nuts again, which they're tight. They ain't none of them tried to back off, so that's a good deal. And just doing a quick walk around and get back on the road. New day. Today is January the 17th, and I just left Klein's Corner, came down through Albuquerque, and daggone wind has just been steady kicking. If y'all hear that beep in the background, that's the Edge CTS3 going off. Let me know my barometer's getting too hot. And fighting the wind plus going up this hill right here, it don't look like much of a hill on camera, but it's a pretty good grade. I mean, you gotta walk. I try to watch it. I try my best to keep this one under 1200, but it's not been happening on this trip at all. Between this thing just being kind of tall and heavy and catching all the wind that's blowing head on at me. Fuel mileage no good. For the most part of the night last night, I wouldn't give it about 6.2. And since I left out this morning, I'm back up to 8.8. That's not very good. But in this wind, it just kind of is what it is. But I try to keep it under or close to 1200. You know, if it does go over 1200, I don't want to be in there very long. And 13 is where I definitely let out of it. And that's where you hear the beeping come in, is at 1300. But anyway, I looked at the wind and I thought it was going to die off for the rest of the day, but it looks like I was wrong. I've had people call and ask me about Flagstaff. Am I worried about Flagstaff? And I want to just kind of a tip. I'm in Albuquerque, about to stop in Grants or Milan, New Mexico, and get fuel. And that puts me a few hours away from Flagstaff. What I did this morning before I left out, knowing they're supposed to be getting snow, I Googled live webcams, Flagstaff, Arizona, and it pulls up and it shows you outdoor webcams. I look at them a lot. I look at Key West, Florida, because I think about going down there a lot, and all kind of different places. But if there's a town you're going to and they've been expected weather, you type in free webcams, and if there's any webcams in the area in that city, they should pull up, and you can sit there and look at the actual conditions. You know, if it's snowing like crazy, if the roads look dry, and all that stuff. It's just something that I do. But I did that this morning, and Flagstaff looked to be okay. The roads, there's traffic moving. Roads looked about like they do here, maybe a little wetter. And I know that the temperature is going to be falling as I get closer to Flagstaff because you're going up in elevation. But at the same time, I'm not real worried about it. I think the road's salted. I think everything will be good. They're going to go tumbleweed across the road. But I got some buddies up on 80 that's been trying to get to Draper, Utah, and they've been stuck setting since yesterday. So, and I know the wind was bad yesterday at some point because I passed the Amazon truck laying on its side in the ditch, and I'm assuming that was because of the wind. Not real sure, but it's kind of what I'm thinking. I can't get over for this guy. Just slow down as much as I can. Well, here we go. This guy's gonna let me out. I hate that right there because if you can't get over, it looks like you got enough room, possibly, but then next thing you know, somebody opens the door and jumps out. It's just never a good idea to pass somebody that close on the shoulder in the right-hand lane. But I've passed like 3 accidents since I left Klein's Corner. I don't think any of it's like weather related. I don't see why it would have been. The wind wasn't really blowing where I was at, and not like it is here. And I'm thanking goodness it's a headwind, because if this turns and starts going across me instead of head on, then I'll be parked for wind, because it's pretty significant right now. I won't say it's right around 30 mile an hour gusts, but they've been hitting me on the nose. Trucks are up, everything's been fine. It's been this whole ride right here has actually just been a really good ride. Anyway, that casino, the Route 66 casino, I don't know if you guys can see it yet, but we're about to be passing it on the left. That is where I wanted to get to last night. They have a travel center, but they also have truck parking. They'll allow campers to park in the casino parking lot. So I usually turn in like I'm going to the casino and park right along the edge. And as long as they're not packed, as long as they're not busy, nobody's ever said a word to me about it, and I've done it multiple times. And if you have a CDL and you've not been in there, you go in and sign up for their players card and you get a free steak dinner, and it's actually pretty good. So I don't know what it costs if you're not getting it for free. I think they charge you for drinks, but the dinner's free or something like that. I don't remember. I know we paid a little bit, but it wasn't much. Well, we almost made the 1.25 foot of snow hit, but these are some of the biggest flakes I've ever seen personally in New Mexico. I know they get a lot of snow out here, but I've not had to deal with much of it. But I plan on going in and getting something to eat, but hell now, I don't know if I want to stop and give it any time or not, because if it's doing this here, I can imagine what it looks like on Flagstaff. And there is a plow truck up in front of us, and I don't know if he putting anything down or not, but the stuff they use here, it ain't like what they use at home. It'll tear your truck all to pieces if you try to pass one of them. You get rocks and all kind of stuff in it, kind of like what they use in Wyoming. But temperature like 30, I think it's 36, and it's dropped to 34, so shouldn't be freezing up yet. And I'm still seeing spray coming off of tires on the vehicles in front of us, and kind of hard keeping my camera focused in. I just realized y'all can't see nothing out there. But anyway, got about 8 more miles. We'll be stopping for fuel. That's not too bad. The little guy in the pickup truck was aggravating me because he wouldn't go on, and then the big truck tried to pass us, and that was aggravating. But overall, roads aren't too bad. One thing about it, when you're in weather like this, calling for weather like this, always make sure and keep your fuel tanks as full as you can. I stop here anyway, but I want to make sure and fuel up before I do go across Flagstaff, because if you wind up sitting on the interstate for 1 or 2 or 6 or 12 hours, you know, make sure you're full of fuel and you got heat. See. Anyway, got to cut the camera off so I can use my phone to get the code for my fuel. So. Yep. Dang, I got my camera all jacked up. Just crossed into Arizona, New Mexico. I did stop and get fuel and got something to eat and got my permit ordered for Arizona. Like I said, they've been tearing folks up left and right for coming into the state without them, and then the scale be closed and that officer waiting right past the scale to get you. I know a few people that's happened to so far. But got my permits, got my food, got my fuel. Should be all good to go. Looked at the webcams and Arizona 511 and all that stuff. It keeps saying snow, but everything looks good, so we're gonna keep easing right on along. So in Arizona, I stopped at the scale and I walked in where I normally buy my permit and showed them that I'd already got my permit, and they wanted the phone number to Permit America. They said for what I'm doing, I'm not supposed to pay this fee right here with the orange line through it. And she said to hang on to this, and the next time I go through, I call and order my permits to make sure that I don't pay that fee, and tell them that they're not supposed to charge me that. Figured I'd throw that in here for you guys. And that was the total on the permits, not including the 30-day oversize. This is just for the trip permit. So in the event that you order your permits online, I just wanted to show you guys that. And if you are going to be coming through here during the normal business hours, they close at 4 and they close Saturday and Sunday. If I remember right, double check that. But these folks are great to deal with. They've always been, ever since I've been coming through here, they're always nice, friendly, helpful, all that stuff. I mean, I've stopped at some scale houses in other states where they weren't, but they're not like that. They're pretty awesome so far every time I've been in. And this is the scale house entering Arizona from New Mexico on I-40. So now that we got all that done, we'll let this big old star car come out here. I'll get right on out there behind it. Looking at the roads, looking at the weather, the wind picked back up a little bit, which I didn't think was going to happen. And but the roads have dried out. The temperature's 38 degrees. It may wind up being an uneventful trip after all. I hope so, but we'll see. So much for an uneventful trip, I guess. That's sleep. That's rough. Maybe it'll clear up here in a minute. When I pulled out the scale house back there, I ran into this. Road got covered. Ran out of it. Started looking good again for a minute. Ran back into it. That was pretty hard to go. I woke up this morning in Boron, California at the Loves on 58, and yesterday that was pretty sketchy coming across Flagstaff. It was a solid sheet of ice, but it was kind of patchy, hit and miss, but for the most part it was enough to keep your nerves going, that's for sure. But I made it through that, made it over Kingman, got fuel, Boron, California, and crashed for the night. Woke up, had a pretty good ride up until I came into Maricopa back there, and it's where 33 and 166 come together. So pulled up there and 166 is closed, and I usually take it all the way out to 101, and that puts you right in Arroyo Grande, and it's closed. So today I'm venturing off, trying to go around that. I don't know these roads. All I know is I talked to the cashier at the gas station, and the guy that was unloading the truck was actually driving one of the shorter food trucks, and I asked him, he said 33 to 46, and that will put you out about the same, and that's not a lot of time difference. Google is saying something totally different, but Google is on my crap list today because it didn't tell me about the road closure. So I know if the roads are open, I know how to get where I'm going because I've been out here so many times, but you know. Anyway, he did tell me to be very careful about the wind. It feels calm where we were at, but it could pick up in any minute. He said the wind is relentless out here. So the first half of the trip was pretty boring, pretty low excitement. The last half of the trip had been enough to keep your nerves going, but it's alright. It's still showing we'll get there at 1:30 today, which is still plenty of time to get unloaded. They receive until 4 and get this off and see what to do next. I know the load board I've been talking to people that's sitting around everywhere looking for a load with no luck, and it is just pitiful. And I was going to say this, I was going to say it at the end of the video, and I may still anyway, but I feel really bad for the people that went out and bought trucks to get into this right as things started going downhill. I had no idea things were going to go downhill when they did, as fast as they did. And I know a lot of people are leaving this, going to do something else, and I'm still getting emails and comments while I'm throwing this in there about, is it a good time to start RV transport? No, it's not. And a lot of the people I know are actually looking for other things to do now, and I hate that, but it's affecting us all. And there's really, I don't know, I knew it was really strong for the past couple of years. You know, I was told it was really strong for the past couple of years, but I'm only 3 years in it myself, so to me it was normal because it was like this since I started. I started right before COVID hit, and it was, it's been about the same all the way through. But I did figure at some point, in any form of trucking I've ever been in, it comes and goes in waves, and it gets really slow. And you got to think we're so confined to campers only when we're doing this that it's not like we can haul cars back or get another load, get a different load. You're kind of stuck. So I don't know. It's really aggravating to see the things going the way that they're going, but I have no idea what else to do. And I've never tried to, I don't get anything if someone signs up with any of these companies up here. I've just been kind of sharing my experience as I go, and if someone has questions, I answer them and all that. But I don't know. I feel really bad that seeing all these people sitting around not getting loads, knowing I'll be in that same boat tomorrow. Like I say, I looked for a day and a half before I found this one. And that was, when I say that, that doesn't mean I started looking one morning and I got this load the next midday, the next afternoon. That means that on my way back from California, every time I stop, I'm hitting the load board looking. But there was a day and a half I sat in a parking lot and just sit there and refresh the load board. So, it's pretty tough right now, and I don't know where it's going or what's coming around the corner next, but for me, it's getting this one off and see what happens next. So we're going to ease on across through here, and hopefully all these roads are open. Because of the flooding they had out here, they said that there's a possibility that 33, the one I'm on now, could be closed. We'll see how this works out, and hopefully we'll be in there by about 1:30. Made it here to Arroyo Grande Trailer HRV. They're getting me checked in. I figure a few more minutes and I'll be on my way. Hopefully the weather won't be too bad on the way back. Try to find some stuff to stop and see on the way back. And I guess I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.